This video is going to be brought to you by G Fuel. To say that G Fuel is a cheat code for me as a creator is an understatement. Between uploading daily on this channel and consistently uploading on 3 of my other channels and still finding time to hit the gym, I need all the energy I can get, which is why I turn to G Fuel energy tubs such as the Ice Spice Orange because of the amazing flavors and having just enough caffeine to get me going for the day, with 140 milligrams, which lets me drink a couple of servings, once when I first start working and second in the afternoon when I'm wrapping up working for the day and need that last push of energy. And best of all, G Fuel is a sugar-free performance energy drink that is huge for me personally. Between that and the 50 different flavors, I'm absolutely in love right now. On top of that, there are 19 different all-natural flavor extracts for unparalleled cell protection, and it contains vitamin C, D, and E. Use my affiliate link in the description box and my promo code KAGE, K-A-G-E, to order some of the Naruto energy tubs like Naruto's Rasengan, Soda, Ice Candy, or some of the other awesome flavors over on the website. Again, use my promo code down below and the discount code KAGE on your G Fuel order today. He was never meant to exist, a man forged in a lab, carrying the DNA of a legend, a legendary super enjoyer of women. He's walking that fine line between prophecy and puppet, but for now, he's also wielding the power of the gods, and it is tearing reality apart as a result. Kashin Koji, he was created to kill a god in Jigen and then try to kill another one in Ishiki, but somewhere along the way, he became something far more dangerous. A man who sees the future, yet he can't control it. And now, the future, it is unraveling and it is changing. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where we're going to break down why the 10 directions updating inside Kashin Koji is a sign that we're not just on that wrong timeline now, but we're also barreling towards a catastrophic one. All because one clone dared to use the divine power that really and truly no human was ever truly meant to use. So let's start off first with what exactly is 10 directions for those guys who might need a recap. So Kashin Koji's 10 directions is that precognitive ability that allows him to see multiple possible futures. Think of it like a branching tree. He stands at the root and watches all the limbs grow outward. But there's the catch. Once a decision is made, one path becomes real and the others, they collapse. But Kashin Koji retains memory out of all of them. That memory gives him incredible strategic foresight. He knows what failed in the past, timelines that don't exist anymore. He knows what succeeded, and he knows how to adjust based on what's happening now. He knows what could have happened, and he can manipulate the events, always staying one step ahead. But there's a fatal flaw, one that got exposed in this chapter, and that's where things get very terrifying. The limitations of a god's tool in a human's body have basically been shown. Unlike a god like Momoshiki, who Ikimoto confirmed for us, his power is not 10 directions, but is something similar, but is different altogether. Or even a omniscient being like Ada, Kashin Koji, he can't really tell which path will be chosen. He can observe future threats, but he is blind to which one will end up being the one that is picked and which one was actually picked. Worse, he doesn't get notified when the future changes. He only realizes it after the ripple is hit. And basically, once that happens, it's already too late. It's like being in a mall parking lot. I'm gonna use a dark example. It's like being in a mall parking lot and someone tells you to duck because there's a shooter going around shooting people, and they're telling you right after you get shot, well, what good is ducking going to do? It's the same thing here. He's walking through time like it's a foggy glass. And by the time that he has seen things clearly, the world, the glass that he's in is already cracked. That flaw became painfully clear when Kawaki appeared with his limiters removed much sooner than what he anticipated. That one deviation, it broke every model of the future that Kashin Koji forecasted. His timeline tree, it was chopped down and he didn't realize until it was burning and a new one was sprouting up in its place. That's like giving a human being a nuclear warhead and telling them, hey, it's just a flashlight. He doesn't even know when he's going to pull the trigger. And the reason why this is so important is that there's a very strong oracle parallel here. Kashin Koji is basically the seer from the Matrix, something that we know for absolute certainty that Ikimoto has drawn tremendous inspiration from when writing Boruto to Blue Vortex. So if you've seen the Matrix, this is a eerie comparison, and on the off chance that some of you guys have not seen the series or the trilogy, I'm not going to go into full spoilers here, but I am going to go over some spoilers. So the Oracle could see the future, multiple possible futures, just like Kashin Koji, but it wasn't because she could control it. She just understood choice and causality. She knew that Neo would come back to her. She knew that Agent Smith was rising. But in the end, she allowed herself to be consumed. Agent Smith was mocking her. Hey, you can see all these different things that happen. You didn't see me coming, did you? And she didn't allow herself to be consumed out of defeat, but because it was necessary for the future that she believed in to take shape. Just like how Kashin Koji is someone who is very much so, very authoritative in the fact that he's looking at it like, we have to absolutely bring about the proper timeline that I think is best for the world, and he doesn't want to deviate from it. The Oracle, when you do a deep dive in her character, she showed some of those traits. Like the Oracle, Kashin Koji, he isn't omnipotent. He's a chess master. He's someone who basically has access to the playbook that his opponent can run. He knows every potential play, but at the end of the day, he's still reacting. Well, in this instance, his opponent has the opportunity to flip the board on his head. When Kashin Koji tries to guide the future towards an outcome, he isn't deciding fate. He's just nudging the pieces, hoping that the board doesn't reset beneath him. Think of it in that aspect, like a game. And now with 10 Directions updating unexpectedly because he didn't know what Boruto did behind his back, the board's been flipped and he now has to play with a brand new changed battlefield. And that gets me into the true dangers of foresight without true control. The most dangerous thing about 10 Directions that we can take away from all this isn't necessarily what it shows. That's a common theme that you've seen with a lot of stories in literature. Knowing the future can have grave consequences. But one thing that we should be looking at here is we should be paying more attention to it's what it doesn't show anymore that we should be paying attention to. Because everything Koji saw before is outdated information. And so you have two decisions. You either continue moving forward, making decisions based on futures that no longer exist, or you have to update, and because you are forced to update your stance without being able to properly plan, it could lead to undesirable outcomes that further make you have to change any decisions you want. This is no longer a controlled scenario that Kashin Koji is in. In a way, you could argue he's being exploited without ever truly realizing it. Whether by Boruto, who told Kawaki to move early to get his limiters removed, or by Jura, who we know is very adamant about wanting to get his hands on Kashin Koji. He doesn't know Koji exists in the sense that it's Kashin Koji, but he does know Boruto has a helper who seems to know a lot about the future. Jura is a very smart individual. You can bet that he might have considered the possibility that Boruto has an ally who has access to information that he shouldn't and is operating off of probabilities. He might have even considered the possibility that Koji is using 10 Directions, again, just not knowing it's Kashin Koji. This isn't foresight anymore. In a way, you could say that this is delusion, guided by ghosts of futures that are already dead, or rather guided by the need to bring about a future that might not be possible anymore. And the worst part, because Kashin Koji remembers those futures vividly, the one thing that you have to look at is Boruto wants a world where no one has to die, where the shinobi world doesn't fall. Kashin Koji is willing to allow different people to die if it brings about the ideal outcome. This might be a scenario that is unfolding right now where that razor thin line they had to walk just got a lot thinner, and their chances to falling over that edge might have gotten a lot higher. There's a greater risk that neither one of them gets the outcome that they want. It's for that reason I do think we need to consider the possibility there could be a sacrifice coming. Just like the Oracle, Kashin Koji may already know what must happen, even if it leads to his own end. He might have to allow himself to be consumed the same way that the Oracle was consumed by Agent Smith. If he can no longer steer the timeline gently, he may be forced to make a decisive sacrifice in order to course correct, to get us back to the timeline that would have resulted in Boruto defeating Jura and stopping the planet from being harvested. Maybe that means putting himself between Boruto and Jura, or Jura and Himawari. Maybe it means revealing a secret that he's withheld, a backdoor timeline that nobody saw coming, or maybe he's the price, that final pawn that must be sacrificed to reset the board. Imagine the poetic symmetry here. Kashin Koji, a clone born to kill a god, dies trying to correct the mistake that was made using a god's power, and ends up dying having to go from being very pragmatic to doing the one thing that his genetic parent Jiraiya would have done willingly, which is take the gamble and trust in the next generation. And it would be a perfect way to pay off Kashin Koji's character, because the theme of his character is the boundary of fate and free will. Is he fated to walk Jiraiya's path? Does he have true free will as a clone? Are clones even humans? Do clones have their own souls? Those are things that we've seen touched on in various mediums of the Boruto franchise. When you really think about it, he was never really meant to wield the power of 10 directions, because he was never meant to exist. But now, having seen so much and changed too little arguably, he may be the only one left who can fix what is coming, even if it costs him everything. And this could be a great lesson for Boruto to learn. Kashin Koji kept trying to tell him, when we use this power, we have to be extremely careful. And that brings me to that final warning. 10 directions, it isn't just a jutsu. In so many ways, it is a warning that seeing the future doesn't mean truly understanding the future. A clone with divine vision, godlike vision, is at the end of the day still only human. Koji tried to light that path moving forward, but when the timeline jumped off course, that light, it became a curse. And now we're hurtling towards a future that he didn't see coming. One that a man like him, who seemingly had all the answers, now has no answers to, because he's having to come up with plans and adjustments in real time now. If Kashin Koji cannot get the timeline back on the path that leads to the best timeline, if he keeps fighting ghosts from failed timeline, this is a figurative example, then the world that he's trying to save, it might be in the process of already being lost, or it might be in a situation where, again, he has to do what Jiraiya did and put his faith in that next generation. And if this ends up being the case, it does make me ask the question, was Kashin Koji wrong to use 10 direction? And if there truly is a sacrifice that is coming to fix the problems that are transpiring, is it something that's going to have a earned payoff in the way that the Oracle was? Because the Oracle had to fall in order for the one to rise. If this ends up being the Kashin Koji and Boruto relationship, is that one that we can say as readers of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex truly feels earned? And that's my video question for you guys. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider like and subscribe. Clicking here to check out more Naruto Explained videos, or click here on the right to check out videos from my other 2 anime channels.